All right, today we're going to talk about building something, but you can't see it. You can only feel it. We're not using bricks or anything like that. Instead, we're going to use focus and awareness to build what I like to call the architecture of inner silence. Let's get into it. So, let me just start with a question for you. Think about this. In our world, which is just full of noise, right? Notifications, opinions, everything screaming for your attention. What if the most powerful voice in your life, the one with the real guidance, is the one you never actually hear? And just to be super clear here, when we talk about inner silence, we're not just talking about, finding a quiet room and sitting in it. It's so much more than that. It's a state of being. It's not about the absence of sound. It's about the presence of clarity. It's about finding that stillness inside you, that place where you can finally see things for what they really are. Okay, so first up, let's dive into what this really means. We're going to go beyond the obvious definition of silence. It's time to discover a much, much deeper kind of quiet. I want you to try a little thought experiment with me. Picture your mind as a perfectly still lake at sunrise. Now, for most of us, pretty much all the time, that lake is, well, it's not still, is it? It's constantly being stirred up by everything. Worries, plans, what you need to do later. All those thoughts are like wind creating ripples on the surface. And when that lake is rippling, what happens to the reflection? It gets all distorted, right? You can't see things clearly. And that's exactly what happens with our minds. When it's full of noise, our perception of reality gets blurred. And this brings us to a really, really important distinction. You see, there's a huge difference between outer silence and inner silence. You could be sitting in the quietest library in the world, not making a sound. That's outer silence. But inside, your mind could be running a marathon, just shouting with thoughts. Inner silence, that's different. That's when all that mental chatter finally starts to quiet down. The mind itself becomes still, and that's where you find clarity. This really gets to the heart of why our constant thinking can be so limiting. Words, they're just tools, right? They're great for describing things, for dividing them up, for analyzing them, but they're always one step removed from the actual experience. Silence, though. Silence is different. It's not a tool. It's the space where you get to experience life directly. It unifies. It understands on a whole other level. Okay, so why should we even care about this? Why does this stillness actually transform you? Well, that's what we're jumping into next. The incredible power of just being present. I mean, have you ever noticed this? You're in a room and someone walks in who is just deeply calm. They're not trying to be the center of attention or anything, but their presence, their inner quiet, it literally changes the energy of the whole room. That's the power we're talking about. It's a power that communicates without a single word. And here's the key idea. Transformation doesn't happen just by cramming more information into your brain. It happens in stillness. It's in those quiet moments when the mind finally stops projecting its own stories, its own fears, its own expectations onto everything, and it can actually start perceiving what's really there. So what do you actually start to see in that quiet space? Well, you start to notice the hidden patterns in your life. Like why you automatically reach for your phone the second you feel bored. You start to feel the emotions that are bubbling right under the surface of your reactions. And maybe most importantly, you begin to see the truths that lie beneath all your assumptions. All right, so we get what inner silence is, and we get why it's so powerful. The big question now is, how do we actually do it? How do we find it? Well, this next part is your practical guide. Okay, before we get to the steps, there's one rule, and this is probably the most important one. You cannot fight your thoughts. Seriously, trying to force them away is like trying to flatten ripples in a lake with your hands. You just make more ripples. The goal is not to have a battle in your head. The goal is to gently shift your attention. So, here we go. 4 simple steps you can try anytime. 1, just pause. Whatever you're doing, just stop. Take a breath. That's it. 2, observe. Notice your thoughts, but don't get on the train with them. Just let them pass by like clouds in the sky. 3, feel. This is a big one. Shift your attention out of your thinking mind and into your senses. What do you actually feel on your skin? What sounds are around you? And 4, allow. And this is the secret. You don't create silence. It's already there, underneath all the noise. Your only job is to notice it. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, this sounds great, but I don't have hours to meditate every day, right? But how long does it really take to start feeling a difference? The answer is not long at all. Just 30 seconds. That's it. 30 seconds of just conscious stillness a few times a day is totally enough to start pulling back the curtain and revealing that inner calm that's been waiting for you. It's so accessible. A lot of us are actually scared of silence. We think it's going to be empty or boring, just a big void. But that's a total misunderstanding. True inner silence isn't an absence of something. It's the presence of everything, just without all the chatter on top. Because when you finally quiet down that constant inner narrator, the one that's always commenting on everything, something else finally gets a chance to speak. Your awareness, your intuition, your most authentic self. It's been there the whole time, just patiently waiting for a little quiet. So that leaves us with one final question. When you finally stop listening to all the noise and you actually start listening to the silence inside you, who will you find?